जय राधा विहार यमुना तेरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजगतरेष्ठोत्तर स्वतः श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस ये श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजगतरेष्ठोत्तर स्वतः श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Prem se kavo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, The Glories of Devotional Service. Text number 14. Tam imam te pravakshyami, tamimam te pravakshyami, tamimam te pravakshyami, yam avocham pura anaghe, yamovacham pura anaghe, yamovacham puranaghe, rishinam Shrotu kamanam, Rishinam Shrotu kamanam, Rishinam Shrotu kamanam, Yogam Sarva Anga Naipunam, Yogam Sarvanga Naipunam, Yogam Sarvanga Naipunam. Tamimam te pravakshyami, yamavocham puranaghe, rishinam shrotu kamanam, yogam sarvanga naipunam. Tamimam te pravakshyami, yamavocham puranaghe, Rishinam Shrotu Kamanam, Yogam Sarvanga Naipunam. Tam imam, that very, te, to you, pravakshyami, I shall explain, yam, which, avocham, I explained, pura, formerly, anaghe, O pious mother, rishinam, to the sages, shrotukamanam, eager to hear, yogam, yoga system, sarva anga, in all respects, naipunam, serviceable and practical. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O most pious mother, I shall now explain unto you the ancient yoga system which I explained formerly to the great sages. It is serviceable and practical in every way. Kindly repeat. O most pious mother, I shall now explain unto you the ancient yoga system, which I explained formerly to the great sages. It is serviceable and practical in every way. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. I think the volume should be reduced a little. There's a lot of echo. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord does not manufacture a new system of yoga. Sometimes it is claimed that someone has become an incarnation of God and is expounding a new theological aspect of the absolute truth. But here we find that although Kapila Muni is the Lord himself and is capable of manufacturing a new doctrine for his mother, he nevertheless says, I shall just explain the ancient system which I once explained to the great sages, because they were also anxious to hear about it. When we have a super excellent process already present in Vedic scriptures, there is no need to concoct a new system to mislead the innocent public. At present, it has become a fashion to reject the standard system and present something bogus in the name of a newly invented process of yoga. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Many years ago, I had traveled to Hyderabad. I was just becoming a devotee at that time, still working outside for a private organization, for a company in Bangalore. And it so happened that on the company's duty, I had to go to Hyderabad to visit a vendor. There was some assessment to be done. And from the company, I was deputed to go and do the work. When I reached Hyderabad, this vendor, naturally, customer's person is coming. He received me nicely, then took me around his factory, showed what all they were producing, and we had a lot of discussions. And he saw that I'm wearing Kantimala, and he offered a coffee and tea. I refused. And I said, I will eat only without onion and garlic and all those kind of stuff. So he realized, he understood that there is some spiritual element to this person. After we finished all our work, we were discussing and then exchanging some normal things. At that time, he started inquiring. I see that you are having this kind of thing, so what is the basis and all that? I gave some introduction about Krishna consciousness and how I'm following the path of Bhakti Yoga. Gave him some initial ideas. He heard everything. A little elderly man, maybe in his late 40s or 50s, early 50s. And I was this young man who is about 26, 27 years old. Not even 26, I was about 24 at that time. He told me, very nice that you have taken this path, but actually Bhakti Yoga is very difficult. That is why I follow the path of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is very easy. Whatever duty I am doing, I have got my business, I have to do it nicely. And so karma yoga is very easy to perform. Like that he was saying. Of course, at that time I was very raw in Krishna consciousness, so I also didn't say anything. I left it at that. Recently, I heard one politician also saying a similar thing. He was saying, he was quoting a verse from the Bhagavad-gita, and he was saying, in the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna says, Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Meaning, yoga means, what is the definition of yoga? Yoga means karmasu kaushalam. You have to become expert in whatever you are doing. That is yoga. If you are a mechanic, become an expert mechanic. If you are a carpenter, become an expert carpenter. If you are a software engineer, become an expert software engineer. That is yoga. Whatever you are doing, do it expertly. Learn the skills and become very expert in what you are doing. That is yoga. That is karma yoga. This kind of understanding is there. And it's a very common understanding. Work is worship. That is yoga. So, people have this sort of understanding that karma yoga means one has to become very expert in what one is doing, and whatever one is doing, if one is doing it very dutifully, that constitutes karma yoga. This is people's understanding today. Actually, if you see, there are different yoga systems. There is karma yoga, there is jnana yoga, there is bhakti yoga, there is ashtanga yoga. Couple of years back, maybe 3-4 years back, I had gone to one very famous institute in Bangalore. There they teach yoga. And they have camps for running for about 7 days, 10 days, something like that. And they have a facility, whoever wants to come and participate, they can come, stay in their facility. They have rooms, they have dormitories, all kind of things, depending upon how much each person can afford. And as soon as the people come, the first thing they do is, they ask them to write down what are all the problems you are facing, what are all the diseases you are having. Somebody is saying, I'm having heart problem, somebody is having lung problem, somebody is having some skin problem, somebody is obese, too fat, wants to reduce weight. According to the diseases that the people mention, then they are allocated to different yoga instructors. And they form batches, good number of people come. They make about 4 or 5 batches, each batch about 20 to 30 people will be there. And people having similar kind of disease, they are sent to one particular instructor, and he will teach. Somebody will be taught pranayama, somebody will be taught certain yogasanas, somebody else will be taught some other type of yogasana which is specific for the problem that they are facing. Ashtanga yoga and the various yogasanas associated with Ashtanga yoga have now become known to be for curing various diseases. This is people's understanding of Ashtanga yoga today. So soon a time will come when people will say, you go to your college and whatever you are learning there, you learn it nicely, that is Jnana yoga. And some more time goes, don't be surprised, people will tell, you should have lot of bhakti for your family, that is bhakti yoga. Lot of bhakti for your nation, country, desha bhakti, that is bhakti yoga. All these understandings also will come in due course of time. Actually, if you see, what is yoga meant for? That is explained by Kapila Muni. In today's verse, he is saying, I am going to tell you that yoga system which yogam yam avocham pura anaghe, that ancient form of yoga I am going to explain. Same thing Lord Krishna also told Arjuna. Sakale neha yogo nashtah parantapa. I am going to tell you that same old system of yoga which has been forgotten in due course of time. When people come up with all these understandings, karma yoga means whatever livelihood you have, nicely you do it, earn a lot of money and enjoy nicely, that is karma yoga. Or you perform Ashtanga yoga, different asanas, you become expert so that your health will be good. All these kind of misunderstandings when they come into the society, that is when the Lord comes and says, no, there is a very standard way of understanding what is yoga meant for from time immemorial. And what is that purpose for which yoga is meant for? Is it to perform your livelihood nicely? Or is it to become expert in your livelihood? Or is it to become free from diseases? Kapila Deva says, no. In the previous verse he says, Yoga Adhyatmika Pumsam. Yoga is meant for our spiritual elevation. It is not meant for our material welfare. How to improve my health, how to reduce my weight, how to become more free from diseases, how to become expert in my work. This is not the goal of yoga. Yoga is Yoga Adhyatmikaha. And Krishna also, actually that verse, when they say Yogaha Karmasu Kaushalam, they quote only the last line of that verse. Actually, what did Krishna say? Krishna said that Buddhi Yuktohi Jahatiha Ubhe Sukrita Dushkrite Tasmad Yogaya Yujjasva Yogaha Karmasu Kaushalam. Yoga is the art of work. Yogaha Karmasu Kaushalam. You can say it is the expertise of doing work. What kind of work? Not the work to earn my livelihood. It is for Ubhe Sukrite Dushkrite Jahati Iha. That work which you perform, by which you become free from the reactions, both good and bad, associated with that work, that is real yoga. Meaning, whatever work we do in this material world, it will have some reaction. You will either gain punya, you will get pious reactions by which you will be able to enjoy in future. Or the kind of activity if you do, if it is sinful, then you will have to suffer distresses in the future. So you can get a Sukriti or a Dushkriti according to the work you perform. If you perform a sinful activity, you will get Dushkriti, you will have to suffer. If you perform a Punya Karma, pious activity, you will get Sukriti, you can enjoy in the future. This is the nature of every activity in this material world. Any work you do in this material world, it will be associated with either a good reaction or a bad reaction. Shri Krishna Rukmani Satyabhama. Now what is Krishna saying? Buddhi yukto hi jahati iha ubhe sukrita dushkrite. When one person acts in such a way that there is no reaction to that work, there is neither pious reaction, good reaction by which you are going to enjoy in the future, nor is there a bad reaction, sinful reaction, because of which you have to suffer distress in the future. Neither reaction is there. That kind of work, Yogaya Yujvasa, that kind of work, Arjuna, you engage in, and that is the art of doing work. The art, Yogaha Karma Sukausalam, the art of doing work by which you are not entangled in either pious activity or in sinful reaction. This is the real art of work. This is what Krishna actually said. So, yoga does not mean simply becoming expert in whatever I do. When I become expert in my livelihood, I'm working in a slaughterhouse, nicely I will slaughter the animals. Now I'm engaged in karma yoga. No sir, you are engaged in papa karma. Every activity that you do has an equal reaction waiting for you. That kind of activity which will free you from all reactions and which will free you from entanglement to this material world and take you back to the spiritual world, that is yogaha karmasu kausalam. That is the art of doing work. Why? Because Krishna already told Arjuna in the Bhagavad-gita that a living entity, a soul, the nature of the soul is to be always active. The living entity can never be idle. He cannot become inactive. So, when you have to be active, that means you have to always keep doing work. You can never sit idle for even a moment. You have to keep doing something or the other. And every activity you do, there is a reaction, a sinful or a pious reaction. So therefore, because you cannot refrain from work, work in such a way that there will be no more reaction. This is yoga karmasu kausalam. This is the art of doing work. Not an easy thing, very difficult. But at the same time, there is a way how to do it. And what is that way to do it? That is, Kapila Deva is stating here, Rishinam Shrotu Kamanam. That activity, that yoga by which one becomes free from the reactions is something which even the rishis are eager to hear about, how to perform that. And that process is the process of bhakti yoga. Because when you engage in bhakti yoga, when you engage in devotional service to Krishna, the activity externally may remain the same. You are cooking, you are dressing, you are building, all these activities are still going on. You are singing, you are dancing. But for whom are you doing? You cook for Krishna. You earn for Krishna. You build for Krishna. You build a temple for Krishna. Instead of building a house for myself, I build a temple for Krishna. Instead of cooking something for me to eat myself, I cook something to offer to Krishna, and that prasadam I honor. I have a tendency to sing and dance. I don't go and sing and dance in some club. What I do, I come and sing and dance in front of the Lord. What do I sing? I sing the glories of Krishna. Activities are externally the same, but what has happened? You are doing the same activity for Krishna, not for yourself. And that becomes devotional service, bhakti yoga, and such bhakti yoga can free us completely from the reactions to all our activities. Now that performance of bhakti yoga is also like that gentleman, he told me, bhakti yoga is very difficult. Karma yoga is very easy. Actually what Kapila Deva is stating, sarvanga naipunam. That bhakti yoga, devotional service it is serviceable and practical in every way. Meaning it is practical, it is serviceable, it is very easy to perform. That is the nature of bhakti yoga. So how to perform that bhakti yoga easily? That actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a discussion with Sanatana Goswami in Prayag. When Sanatana Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Prayag, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent several days explaining the science of devotional service to Sanatana Goswami. In the performance of devotional service bhakti yoga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami that there are 64 regulative principles to be followed. Meaning 64 activities that we have to engage in while performing devotional service. And during that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu highlighted, out of all these 64 activities in devotional service, there are 5 activities which are very important. And later, Sanatana Goswami questioned the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about explaining the Atma Rama verse. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had explained the Atma Rama verse to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in, I think, 9 or 16 different ways he had explained. Sanatana Goswami wanted to hear that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again explained the Atma Rama verse from the Bhagavatam, but this time he explained in 61 different ways. And then during that explanation, again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought up the same point. Twice Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasized there are 5 items of devotional service which are very, very important. What are these 5 items? Sadhu Sangha, Bhagavata Shravana, Nama Kirtana, Mathura Vasa, and Srimurtira Shraddhaya Sevana. These 5 activities, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, out of all the 64 principles, the regulative duties in Bhakti Yoga, these 5 are very, very important. What are these 5? First is Sadhu Sangha, association with devotees. Srila Prabhupada created an institution where we can every day associate with sadhus, with devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness. You can associate with the Acharya Srila Prabhupada, who is a pure devotee, every day by reading his books and following his instructions. This Sadhu Sangha is one of the angas of devotional service, one of the 64 angas, which is very, very important. The second anga, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stressed upon, Bhagavata Shravana, hearing the Srimad-Bhagavatam every day. And you see, Srila Prabhupada instituted a system in the movement that every day morning there is a Bhagavatam class. Every day we have to hear Bhagavatam. Then Nama Kirtana, chanting the holy names of Krishna. This is the third Anga Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said is very important. And what did Prabhupada say? Prabhupada said, every day minimum 16 malas of Hare Krishna Mahamantra we have to chant. Nama Kirtana. Third is Mathura Vasa, living in a holy place like Mathura or Vrindavan or Dwaraka. One has to live in a place. One has to stay somewhere. And naturally, wherever we stay, we identify ourselves with that place. I am an Indian. I am from Tamil Nadu. I am from South India. All these designations we take up, isn't it? So, if we stay in Vrindavan and we say, I am a Vrajavasi, that is a much better thing. Because we have a tendency to identify ourselves with wherever we stay. So we stay in a holy place. And when we say holy place, it means not only the places of pilgrimage like Mathura and Vrindavan and Dwaraka, it also means a temple. Prabhupada created temples where devotees can stay and they can practice Krishna consciousness. This is the fourth Anga. And for somebody who is a Grihastha who is staying outside the temple, he can have deities at the temple. Every day he can follow the sadhana, whatever the temple is following. He converts his house into a temple. So that way, you always reside in a holy place where Krishna's glories are constantly chanted and Krishna is worshipped. So this is Mathura Vasa. And the fifth one is Srimurtira Shraddhaya Sevana, the worship of the deity of Krishna with great opulence and reverence. And you see, in all of Prabhupada's temples, we have beautiful Krishna deities and they are worshipped with so much grandeur. And somebody who is not able to participate in the activities of the temple, he can have deities at home. But if you are able to stay very close to the temple and you can come and attend the daily Arati programs in the temple, then this Srimurtira Shraddhaya Sevana is very easily practiced. And you see how Prabhupada instituted these 5 principles in a very strong way in the Krishna conscious movement. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said these 5 Angas, E Pancha Anga, these 5 Angas are the most important. Why are they important? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted one verse. He said, Duruhadbhuta virye asmin. Duruhadbhuta virye asmin shraddhastu dure panchake. So these 5 Panchake, these 5 Angas of devotional service, they are Duruha Adbhuta Virya. Their Virya, their power is Duruha. It is very difficult to understand how these simple 5 things, which is hearing Bhagavatam every day, chanting Krishna's holy names a fixed number of times every day, worshipping the deity of Krishna in the temple, living in the proximity of the temple, how these 5 activities can become so powerful. It is Duruha. Uha means to estimate, to assess. Duruha means nobody can understand how these 5 activities are so powerful. They are inconceivable. Their power is inconceivable. Not only that, Duruha Adbhuta, it is amazing. The kind of power these Panchake, these 5 Angas, Pancha Anga of devotional service has, the kind of power that it possesses is amazing. It is incredible. Duruhadbhuta virye asmin shraddha durestu panchake. Why? What is so inconceivable and what is that great power? Shraddha dure astu panchake. Even though one have no faith in performing these 5 principles of devotional service, if someone simply, without any faith, anyway, some people are doing, they are telling me, I will do it. So with least faith, he performs any of these activities. And that too, how does he perform? The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Swalpopi Sambandha, even a little one performs these things. One may come to the temple. Anyway, everybody, family members are going, let me also go and pay obeisance. And children, parents are going, children also accompany. Children have no understanding. Oh, Mahaprabhu has said, this is Sri Vigraha, deity of Krishna. it is as good as Krishna. It is a very powerful devotional process. Child has no such understanding. Parents are going, he is also coming. Parents are offering obeisance, the child is also offering obeisance. Swalpopi sambandaha, even if a little contact is there with even one of these 5 processes, although one may have no understanding or no faith in that process, still what happens? Bhava janmane, sadhyam bhava janmane. If that person is not having an offensive attitude towards Krishna and to the devotees, then bhava janmane, that simple contact with one of these 5 angas of devotional service will actually pull that devotee towards Krishna consciousness, and it will bestow upon him pure devotional service. Bhava janmane, eventually it will evoke the transcendental symptoms of bhava bhakti and prema bhakti. It will drag that person forcibly towards developing love of Krishna, towards Krishna prema. This is the power of these 5 angas. Even if somebody has no faith, no understanding, doesn't matter. Somehow little bit he does. That much is enough. Even a slight connection to even one of these 5 angas can drag one forcibly towards Krishna prema. You can imagine then, if we are every day performing all these 5 angas, how much powerful it must be. Every day if we chant Hare Krishna mantra a fixed number of times, every day if we hear Srimad-Bhagavatam, every day if we worship the deities, do arati for them and worship them, offer nice bhoga to them, if we worship them every day, if we live in a place which is very close to the temple or in an atmosphere similar to a temple of Krishna, and we associate with devotees who are similarly engaged, then if you are doing this every day, then you can imagine how much effective this process will be. And to perform these processes, is it very difficult? It's not at all difficult. To hear Srimad-Bhagavatam every day is difficult. Anyway, we have a tendency to hear every day. If we don't read Bhagavatam, we'll read the newspaper. So instead of doing that, you can as well read the Bhagavatam. You have a tendency, anyway you have to eat every day. Instead of eating bhoga every day, you offer to Krishna and eat. Already you are worshipping Krishna at your home. Every day you have a tendency to hear and to go and see some big celebrity. Instead of seeing some movie or something like that, you come to the temple and have darshan of Krishna. So very easily these principles, these 5 angas can be performed. But duruha adbhuta vidyesmin, the power that these 5 angas possess is amazing. It will forcibly drag you to Krishna, to the point of developing Krishna prema. And therefore, Kapila Deva is stating that yogam sarvanga naipunam. All the sarva anga, all the angas of this yoga, of bhakti yoga, is naipunam, is practical and serviceable in every way. Nobody can say that, no, how can I hear Bhagavatam every day? I cannot read Bhagavatam every day. You have to read anything, something or the other every day. Read Bhagavatam. Somebody cannot say, no, I cannot offer food to Krishna. Anyway, you have to eat every day. So cook and offer to Krishna and then have. What is the big deal? One small process we are adding in between, that's all. After cooking for 5 minutes, you have to offer to Krishna and have. That 5 minutes only is adding up. So nobody can say it is impractical, no, very difficult to perform. Like the gentleman said, Bhakti Yoga very difficult to perform. Actually, Bhakti Yoga is not at all difficult. It is very easy to perform. And that is why for Kali Yuga especially, it is only the process of Bhakti Yoga which is recommended. No other yoga system is recommended in Kali Yuga. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Iva Kalau, Kalau Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyatha. In Kali Yuga, no other process will work. Meaning, Karma Yoga will not work, Jnana Yoga will not work, Ashtanga Yoga will not work. What will work? Harer Nama, Iva Kevalam. Only the process of Bhakti Yoga, which involves chanting and hearing the holy names of Krishna, beginning with that, and the rest of the angas of devotional service, which are serviceable and practical, easily performed. There is no impracticality, there is no difficulty. If you want to follow the process of Ashtanga Yoga, very impractical in Kali Yuga. Why? Because Krishna describes in the Bhagavad-gita how to perform
Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga, you cannot live in a city and perform and say, I am doing pranayama, I am doing all these yoga asanas. No. You have to give up your family life, you have to take sannyas, you have to go to the forest, and all alone you have to practice in the middle of the forest. Is it practical in Kali Yuga? Not at all practical. Jnana Yoga, if you have to follow the process of Jnana Yoga, you have to give up your family life, take sannyas, and engage in deep study of the Vedanta Sutras, Upanishads, etc. Who knows Sanskrit to be able to study all this literature today? Sanskrit has become a very elite language. Very few people know Sanskrit. So where is the question of doing all this? Jnana Yoga is also impractical. Karma Yoga, if you have to perform, then you have to perform the duties associated with the varnas and ashramas in the society according to the Vedas. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, according to these situations, you have to perform the duties which are delineated in the Vedic scriptures. Where is Varnashrama system today? Today that Varnashrama system has simply become, by birth you are called a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But if you look at all the activities of those people, the person who calls himself a Brahmana will also be doing the activities of a Shudra. So that is why in Shastras it is stated, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. In Kali Yuga, everyone is a Shudra. Nobody can be called a Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya. Everybody is a Shudra. Then where is the question of performing Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga you cannot perform unless there is Varnashrama Dharma. So Karma Yoga is also ruled out. Then what can you perform? Only Bhakti Yoga. Because for Bhakti Yoga there is no qualification required. For all other processes, qualification is needed. For Ashtanga Yoga you have to perform, then you should know all the asanas and the pranayama and all these processes, and you should be able to control all your senses completely. Then only you can perform Ashtanga Yoga. Otherwise, where is the question of going to the forest and following strict brahmacharya and then following? So for Ashtanga Yoga, strict brahmacharya is essential. So unless you have fully controlled your senses, you are not qualified to perform Ashtanga Yoga. Jnana Yoga, you should have learned Sanskrit, you should be a Sanskrit scholar, and you should have studied all the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutras. So for that also qualification is needed. Karma Yoga, you have to be qualified and trained as a Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya, or as a Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. You should be trained up in all these duties. Then only you can perform Karma Yoga. For that also qualification is needed. Bhakti Yoga, what is the qualification? No qualification needed. You perform Bhakti Yoga will qualify you to receive the mercy of Krishna. This is the difference between other yoga processes and Bhakti Yoga. That is why Kapila Deva is saying Yogam Sarvanga Naipunam. Because it is so easily performed. You don't need any qualification to start the process of Bhakti Yoga. You perform Bhakti Yoga, you will become qualified to be a yogi. This is the reality. That is the special position of Bhakti Yoga, because Bhakti Yoga is completely transcendental. All other yoga systems are not transcendental. They all work on the material platform. Bhakti Yoga, being transcendental, there is no consideration of any qualification required. And so therefore, Kapila Deva is stating, Yogam Sarvanga Naipunam. This is the most practical and serviceable yoga process. And Rishinam Shotu Kamanam. Even the greatest rishis are eager to hear how should we practice Bhakti Yoga. And you see, such an exalted process, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave the signs of how to perform it, and he condensed the essence of that Bhakti Yoga to perform the 5 angas, Pancha Anga, and that Prabhupada has instituted in the society, in the Hare Krishna movement, in such a beautiful way, everybody can easily perform. So what more do we need? And simply by performing this yoga processes, this Bhakti Yoga process, we can go back to Godhead and we can become free from the entanglement to all the reactions of our activities. So I will stop here. If anybody has any question or comment, we can discuss.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmanda Brahmita Kona Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Krupa Bhakti Lajabaja.
Yes.
So pre-qualification is Bhagyavan. So
Yeah.
how to understand the qualification of Bhagyavan?
Guru Krishna Prasade Pai. Bhakti Lata Bija. So, even though a person might be most unqualified, if a most unqualified person receives some big award, what do we say? Very fortunate guy, lucky guy. He did not do anything, he did not work hard, but he got the award. Isn't it? If somebody worked very hard and got the award, what we say? All hard work, intelligent fellow, that's why he got the award. He did a lot of hard work, that's why he got the award. Somebody didn't do anything, he was lazing at home. Suddenly out of the sky, somebody called him and told you got the award. Huh? I didn't do anything, I didn't even participate, I got the award. What will you say? Lucky fellow, how did he become so lucky? Yaar? Kona Bhagyavan Jeev, that is called fortune. Why? Because Guru Krishna Prasade, Guru and Krishna bestow their causeless mercy upon someone, he becomes Bhagyavan. In Kali Yuga, nobody is qualified to perform any yoga process. So therefore, Krishna came personally as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he distributed the holy name of Krishna, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he sent Chaitanya, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent Srila Prabhupada to further distribute the love of Godhead to all the most fallen conditioned souls of Kali Yuga. What are we? We are all not qualified in any way. Therefore, most unqualified people that we are today hearing Srimad-Bhagavatam, the most elevated scripture we are hearing every day. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which has been imported from Goloka Vrindavan. Golokera Premadhana Harinama Sankirtana. We are engaging in that imported object from the spiritual world, from Goloka Vrindavan, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are able to chant that. You know, these things are inexplicable things. You cannot estimate how we are able to do this, because even Devatas are unable to get such kind of fortune. Even the Devatas, they don't have access to these things, to the Bhagavatam and to the holy name of Krishna. But we are having it so easily. So are we more qualified than the Devatas? No. We have no qualification. That is our qualification. Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw these people are so unqualified, they can never be saved. Better we give them causeless mercy. And causelessly, without any reason, they are giving us Krishna consciousness. They are giving us the holy name of Krishna and the nectar of the Bhagavatam. So therefore, we are Bhagyavan. That is how we have to understand. Is that okay? So actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also states, who is a real Bhagyavan? So in another sense, when we look at it, when a person performs Sukriti, Krishna said in the Bhagavad-gita, Ube Sukrita Dushkriti, to become free from both Sukriti and Dushkriti. When a person performs Sukriti or Punya Karma, there are three kinds of Punya Karma that he can perform. One kind of Punya Karma which you perform, which is mentioned in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. If you perform that, you giving dana, doing tapasya, doing various yajnas to please the devatas, you do all these things. This is called Bhogonmukhi Sukriti. That Sukriti, that Punya Karma which you do, which will ensure for you in the future lot of happiness. That is Bhogonmukhi Sukriti. Then there is another kind of Sukriti, which different sannyasis perform. The Vanaprasthas, they perform. They undertake severe austerities, they go to the forest and they do meditation and follow the process of Ashtanga Yoga. So many activities they do. They take up the process of sannyasa dharma. When one performs all these things, what happens? This also is pious activity. This is also Sukriti. What kind of Sukriti? It is Mokshonmukhi Sukriti. It will ensure for you moksha or mukti in the future. Then there is a third kind of Sukriti, which is Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. A third kind of pious activity, which if you perform, it will ensure for you in the future, you will become eligible to practice Bhakti Yoga. Instead of going to some Devata temple, somehow you came to a Krishna temple and offered obeisance. You are doing highest Punya Karma and you are offering obeisance to Krishna. It will ensure for you in the future not Bhoga, not Moksha. It will ensure Bhakti for you. You came to the temple, had darshan of Krishna, some Krishna prasadam you had. It is ensuring for you in the future Bhakti, Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. So there are certain activities, certain pious activities which you perform, it will direct you to the process of Bhakti Yoga. It will bring you in contact with a pure devotee, by which you will be able to practice Krishna consciousness. You will get the holy name of Krishna and you will be able to develop Krishna Prema. So that is also possible. So in Kali Yuga, that is why we have to spread Sankirtana Yajna. The more we spread Sankirtana Yajna and we distribute Krishna Prasadam and we distribute Prabhupada's books, what happens? People will become more and more Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti they will be able to achieve, which will ensure that they will eventually come to the process of Bhakti Yoga. Okay? Any other question or comment? Yes, please.
Prabhu, related to the previous doubt, as we are quite lucky enough that we got association of Prabhupada, but we have tendency, anything we get very easily, we start taking it lightly.
Yes.
We don't follow it as it is mentioned. So how to come out of that consciousness and be very serious?
Very good question. Anything that we get easily, we don't understand the value. We tend to take it very cheaply, isn't it? Somebody gives you free copy of the Bhagavad-gita. What will happen? You'll not read it. You'll go and keep it somewhere. You'll give it up to someone or you'll throw in the dustbin. On the other hand, if somebody comes and takes 1,000 rupees from you and you take the Bhagavad-gita, what you will think? 1,000 rupees I paid. So at least one page I should read. Isn't it? Bhagavad-gita is the same. But what happens when you get it freely? You lose the value for it. Therefore, the Sadhu Sangha and Bhagavata Shravana is important. If we remain in the association of devotees and every day we read Prabhupada's books, then that value will keep getting reinforced in our mind. Therefore, it is essential. Sadhu Sangha is most important. If we are in the association of sadhus, then every day that discussion about Krishna, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's activities and the process of Bhakti Yoga, the philosophy of Bhakti Yoga, all these things, when we constantly discuss every day, what happens is our value for that will remain high. So this is how we have to ensure that we don't lose the value for it. Otherwise, it is a natural phenomenon. In the Bhagavatam also it is stated, Sannikarshopyatra Jananam Anadharana Karanam. When we achieve something very easily or we become too close to something, Sannikarshaha, too much proximity with something, what happens? Anadharana Karanam, we lose the respect for that person or object. In English we say familiarity breeds contempt. This is a very true thing. Therefore, we have to keep reminding ourselves the value of devotional service, which is possible by reading Prabhupada's books. So if we keep ourselves grounded in reality that this material world is full of birth, death, disease and old age. I am born here because of my sinful activities. I have to suffer in this material world. Krishna says, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. This material world is a world of miseries and it is temporary. These things, when we reinforce ourselves every day, what happens is we will retain our value for Krishna consciousness. And the process of Krishna consciousness also is such that if you keep performing these 5 angas daily, what it will do is it will strengthen your faith and conviction in the process more and more and more. The more you perform these 5 angas of devotional service, the stronger you become, the more determined you become. And a stage will come where your faith and conviction in the process will become unshakable. So then you will not be subject to this issue that I'll lose the value for Krishna consciousness. On the material platform, that is true. As long as we are materially conditioned, the mind will act materially. The nature of the mind is anything we get very easily or we become too close to something, we lose the respect for it. This is the nature of the material mind. But as we go on performing the process of Bhakti Yoga, especially these 5 angas, which we have discussed today, what will happen is our mind, our subtle body and our gross body, both are getting purified. As we get more and more purified, as the more and more anarthas get washed away from our heart, what will happen? The value of Krishna consciousness will become more and more abundantly clear to us. It will become more and more brilliantly shining in our heart. Actually, we can see that when we start initially Krishna consciousness, how do we start? Some devotee tells us, chant Hare Krishna mantra mala. We don't know the glories. What is the effect of chanting Hare Krishna mantra and all? Somehow one devotee is telling, let me chant 10 minutes every day, let me chant. We start chanting like that. But gradually, as we go on chanting, as we go on reading Prabhupada's books, as we go on associating with devotees, what happens? We start realizing, oh, chanting Hare Krishna mantra is not something ordinary. What happens? We develop more and more respect for chanting Hare Krishna mantra. We develop more and more respect for Krishna. So you see, actually the reverse is happening. So if we stick to the process of Bhakti Yoga, the process of Bhakti Yoga is such that our respect, our faith, our conviction, our determination, all these things will only go on increasing. That is the nature of Krishna consciousness, because it is completely spiritual. It is not material. And therefore, we don't have to fear about our losing respect or developing contempt due to proximity. We have to simply stick to the process and follow the process as strictly as possible. That is what will take us progressively on the path of Krishna consciousness. Is that okay? We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.